Once again, it's my privilege to address you. I'd like to share with you the best way to preserve wealth based on a midrashic story that's quoted in the Yalkut on the book of Ruth. This is the way the story goes. There was once a very wealthy man who was both not only wealthy but pious. And he was a good person, a very good person. But as the sages of the Talmud tell us, that actually wealth is sort of a revolving wheel. Sometimes people on top find themselves on the bottom, people on the bottom find themselves on top. And over the course of time, this wealthy, pious person found himself losing money right over left. And there was no way for him to arrest the decline. And in a short while, he actually had to sell his house. And here he had to move into a tiny little home, and he needed money desperately. So the man that used to have fields and hire day laborers now himself became a day laborer. So he went out to the fields, tried to find people, network, who would hire me for a couple of hours a day. He was no youngster, not that many people were willing to hire him, but he was able to eke a very meager existence. Of course, we could imagine that his constant prayer was, "Dear God, please restore to me back my vigor, my health, my wealth, and let me continue the way it used to be when I was once rich." Well, God does hear prayers, but he sends a response often in strange ways. And according to the tradition, one day after he was coming home tired, trudging home to his small house, a Ishmaelite stops him. Little did he know that this man was actually Elijah, the prophet in disguise. And the Ishmaelite says, "Hey, middle-aged man, stop for a second. I want to give you riches. Actually, God wants to give you riches for 6 years. Do you want them now? Or would you like to wait until you're old and then you'll get the wealth so you could support yourself in your old age honorably?" The pious man looks at this stranger, never met him before. He says, "Go away. Who are you? Why are you pestering me? Are you a sorcerer? Do you know what the stars are saying? Leave me alone. Just go away." And he walked home. He had his dinner. The next day, thank God for the health that he had, went out and labored in the field. On the way home, he decides to take a different path. And as he takes the different path before he enters his home, guess who he should encounter? That same Ishmaelite. "Hey, middle-aged man, would you like wealth now for 6 years or later? I told you, leave me alone. Why are you hounding me? Go away, go away." And he walks into the house perturbed. Like, why is this man hounding him? Who is he? What's he saying? It doesn't make any sense. Get wealth 6 years, now, later. He decided just to put it away. He's an eccentric. A couple of days later, who should he meet? On his way home, this same fellow, someone dressed like an Ishmaelite merchant, who stops him and seems to imply, "God has heard your prayer. You have 6 years of wealth. Would you like it now or later?" Well, his impulse was to chase him away, but he said to himself, maybe there is something to this fellow. And he said, "You know what? All major decisions, I talk it over with my wife. Let me ask her." And he goes home. And he says to his wife, "I've met someone 3 times, doesn't look Jewish, but seems to be coming with a message from God. We have wealth waiting for us. We could take it now and have it for 6 years, or wait until we're old and receive it for 6 years." And his wife turns to him with a smile. "If it's something good, why postpone? Let's take it now." So he goes out. He doesn't see the man. He walks out a little bit further. And when he sees him standing by the edge of the field, he says, "I spoke it over with my wife. She said we're better off taking it now." And the Ishmaelite merchant looks at him. He says, "That's fine. God will shower you with wealth for 6 years. And even before you come home, you will already experience it. And with that, this man mysteriously disappears. Now he was really confused. Even before I go home, what's going to happen? Will it rain money from heaven? And as he's walking home, the children come running out. Daddy, Daddy, look what happened. Well, what happened, children? We were out in the field playing. We noticed a rock. We moved away the rock. And look at what we found. And they show him a large sack filled with coins and gold. It was a fortune. More than enough to live on for 6 years. He realized now that this man was indeed a messenger from God, and walked into the house very, very excited, and told his dear wife, "My dear wife, come, God has heard our prayers. We are wealthy and wealthy. We have 6 years of wealth ahead of us." Well, that night they had a good dinner and they were planning the future. But after the children retired to bed, he looks at his wife with anxiety. Was it really so smart to take the wealth now? What will we do in our old age? She said, "Don't worry, I was thinking about that. It seems to me that God has showered us with kindness. There's a thread of kindness upon us. Why don't we extend that thread further? Why don't we continue God's kindness? And what we will do is we will give charity lavishly and write it down in a ledger. And after 6 years, we shall see." And during those 6 years, they lived very comfortably, but simply. And the wife and the husband gave charity, and their generosity was a byword in the village. No more did he have to be a day laborer. Rather, he hired. But being a conscientious overseer, he would come out to make sure daily, to make sure that the fields were being tended to. Well, 6 years passed like the blink of an eye, as the expression goes. And at the end of the 6th year, he was coming home from his field, very satisfied, when who should he encounter but that same mysterious stranger they had seen 6 years ago, the Ishmaelite. The merchant looks at him and he says, "My good man, God has given you the wealth for 6 years, but there was a condition that after 6 years you will have to give it back. Give me what I've given you. Give me back your wealth." The pious man said, "1 second. Before you gave me the wealth, I told you I have to consult with my wife. I think it's only fair that I consult with my wife again to find the proper response." And the man said, "Fine, go inside and consult with your wife." When he came inside, he said to his wife, "What are we going to do? All of this is going to disappear. What should I tell the man?" And she said, "This is what you should tell him. Show him the books we keep, where every act of kindness is recorded, and tell them as follows. The wealth is not ours. It belongs to you. You are a messenger from God. But if you could find someone that will preserve the wealth and treat the wealth as conscientiously as we, then take it. But if you begin to realize that we've taken care of your wealth, we've invested it wisely, we've extended the wealth, God gave us kindness and we extended that kindness, then don't you think he should continue allowing us to extend the kindness?" The man went out carrying the books and spoke it over with the Ishmaelite. When the Ishmaelite saw the meticulous bookkeeping, saw the goodness and the generosity of this wonderful pious couple, he said, "Indeed, indeed, you are right. There is no greater and better custodian of the wealth than you. And I am sure that the heavenly court above will agree." And the Midrash concludes that the Holy One, blessed be He, blessed them with blessing upon the blessing. And upon them was fulfilled the verse of Isaiah that the practice of charity shall be and bring peace. So here we have it, my friends. What's the best way to keep your wealth? What's the best way to hold on to what you have? The answer is, make God a part. Make him as your partner. Thank God for what you have. And then say to God, "Look, you're kind to me. You're generous to me. Everything that I have is actually your gift to me. Let me be the conduit to share the blessings with others. Let me be the conduit of divine kindness. Let me be the conduit of divine generosity. And when God will see that we know how to use money, we know how to use his resources correctly, without a doubt, not only will he preserve what he's given us, but he will shower us with abundant blessings. And my friends, that's my message to you as well. It's becoming the new year. All of us that are blessed with everything that's good want to hold on to it and increase it. And those of us that unfortunately find ourselves in straits, which are difficult. We need a special blessing for health, a special blessing for a job, a special blessing for a shidduch, a special blessing for domestic harmony, or whatever we need. We really do desperately need God's blessing. Let's show that we know how to use the goodness that God has blessed us with. And in the merit of our tzedakah that we give to others, God will give his tzedakah, his righteousness, and bless us all with a happy and healthy new year. Shalom, and I certainly hope you will help us out. Thank you.
כי אתה אלוהים